Warning, this episode contains strong language. Hello, and welcome to episode 5 of PauseCast. It's a show about play. It's Tuesday, June 28th, 2016. I am your host, Jessica Alouette, and I use she, her pronouns.
And I'm the other host, Mark, and I use he, him.
Welcome to the show once more.
Episode 5 already, wow.
Yeah. I'm kind of amazed we made it this far, only just because we haven't lost the will to keep doing it. I think that's like my worry with doing stuff like this is that I'll get super burned out and like lose interest in it. But I haven't lost interest in this because it's been so much fun.
Well, I mean, it's about video games, right? And it's hard to completely lose interest in video games.
Yeah, you can't really. I mean, you could if you tried, I guess, lose interest in video games, but you'd have to try at that.
Yeah, I've not been trying.
No, neither have I. So I've got a lot of games to talk about this week. You got a lot of games?
What have you been playing? Yeah, I've actually got a few.
All right. You asked me first, so I'm going to go ahead. I have started Baldur's Gate, the enhanced edition of Baldur's Gate.
So that's sort of an old game and a new game, kind of, right?
Yeah, it got updated in 2014 with like kind of high-res graphics, full.
But it's originally from what, like 2002 or something?
Go earlier.
Really?
90s.
99?
I would say I'm gonna guess. I'll look it up in a little bit, but I'm gonna guess 97 would be when the original Baldur's Gate was released.
I'm trying to look it up, but I'm failing.
I'll go through some other games. I have
98.
98. Okay, I was
Split
close.
the difference.
I've been playing some more Rocket League.
Cool.
I've been playing a lot more of the competitive mode, actually. And I've actually made it to the point where I've played all 10 of one of the types of matches that are required so that you actually have a rank. So that's exciting.
There are 10 types of matches?
No, there are 10. You have to go through 10 starter matches, basically, to determine your rank.
Oh, okay.
Where you can be put into a match at any kind of skill level.
Yeah.
And because the season reset, it was kind of a wild card. So I got put into a really low rank. But I'm going to be able to work my way up. So that's going to be interesting. Cool. I've been playing some more Fallout 4.
There's new DLC for that, isn't there?
Yeah, I was playing around with the Contraptions DLC just a little bit. I built a little watchtower on top of the castle with the elevator and some just shack walls around it, so I had a perch to snipe from.
I think it's really cool how it's got elevators and conveyor belts and stuff now. I haven't actually gone in and had a go with it. But, I mean, that's one of the new things that they hadn't actually done in previous games is have, like, you can stand on something and it moves you.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like a lot when so many games have vehicles, but for Bethesda's games, they've never had something like that before. And as someone who's played around in the back end of a lot of their games, that's kind of cool for me.
Have you heard the story about how their trains ran in Fallout 3 in New Vegas?
Oh, how it was a helmet?
Yeah, how it was just a helmet and there's just a dude underneath it.
Well, remember how I've told you about all the weird sort of hacky stuff they've done, like in Oblivion in the main storyline. Part of it is you get a statue made of you. But what they actually do to make that statue is they clone you. So they've got an NPC that is exactly identical to you down to its inventory. And they just like set it as ghost so it can't be hit and put a shader on it so it looks like stone. And then put it in a pose. But it's a person. Encased in stone. That's as horrifying as you make it.
And that was also the case with the mannequins that they've put into...
Yeah, the mannequins were people.
Yeah.
So I think there were some people who had bugs like their mannequin moved when they weren't looking at it, and it's kind of the sort of weeping angel kind of vibe.
Yeah, I was going to say. They work exactly the same in Fallout 4, I'm pleased to report. They are... When you go to build a mannequin, they have... You know how your villagers will have, like, unassigned put
Right,
on
yeah,
them.
if you haven't put them to a task or something,
Yeah.
yeah.
When you're building your mannequins, you'll see that.
Can you assign your mannequins to do something?
No, you cannot. I did look
Okay,
at that.
right.
But
Okay.
they're treated as just villagers and then subtracted from your population and essentially made into a ghost, I guess. So,
Cool. So how is that? How is that with the mannequins and the racks and the elevators and all that stuff?
I'm kind of disappointed with a little bit of it. I'm disappointed with the
Yeah?
weapon racks, specifically.
How's that?
You can only put one thing on them, regardless of their size.
So is it more of a display single weapon rack rather than an actual put your weapons in here?
Yeah, it kind of is.
I mean, that's a cool thing to have, but it would be really great to be able to have an armory where it's not just a little box with 100 guns in it, right?
Well,
But
yeah,
you've got,
that's kind of what I'm
this
trying
thing
to
with all your
do.
rifles.
I'm trying to do that. It's just kind of I thought with some of the pistol racks are huge, but you only put one thing on them. And I
Right.
thought you would have been able to put at least two on that, or two on some of the bigger panels.
Knowing a bit about how the game handles inventory items, I can understand why they've taken that approach, because believe me, it's easier, but it's still, yeah, it would be cool to have one where you can put in multiple things and have them display.
Yeah, I get the technical restriction. It's fine, I guess.
But you want it to be better.
I want it to be better. I hope.
And that's fair enough.
I wonder if a modder's going to take care of that.
I mean, it's possible. It's just going to be harder.
Yeah, I haven't even modded Fallout 4 at all yet.
I haven't either, because I had that problem when I was in the beta, and then they didn't fix it, and I didn't find out how to get it working again until after it was out of beta, and I haven't gone back to mod it since.
And
I will have to do that.
Remind us, what was that issue?
Oh, that was once they added the modding stuff so that you could select mods in the in-game menu. Suddenly, when I started up the game, it would be I'd see the loading icon of my cursor just flashing forever. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes it would go to the main menu and just be flashing and I couldn't get anywhere. Turns out they're running it in the borderless windowed mode. Fixed that
Right.
for me. So if anyone's experiencing that, borderless window sorted it out for me. But yeah, I didn't know that until after it was out of beta, and I was kind of, I'll come back to it at some point.
Yeah, I just haven't touched the modding tools, not because I'm not interested in it, but because I haven't felt the need to mod it.
Sure. Believe me, once you start, you'll be playing the game and you'll keep thinking, oh, this would be really cool, and you'll jump out and jump into the creation kit.
I think that's what I did with Skyrim. And
Yeah.
just a second, hang on. Oh, I actually never mind. I was gonna. Oh, hang on. Wait a second. Let's see. There's at least 100 mods installed on my copy of Skyrim. At least.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to count mine.
Several of them are the enhanced villages and stuff like that. It's actually downloading 100 mods. That's what my subscribed mod count is, and I know I have a few that I got from the Nexus as well.
Right.
So
I've much more heavily used the Nexus than the Steam interface.
I really liked the workshop for Skyrim.
Yeah, it's a bit harder to get to the workshop when you're used to actually being able to muck around with the stuff in the file system, and then suddenly it's all hidden from you.
Yeah.
But coming to it from a new perspective, it's really easy for an end user.
I got the
modders.
chance to recommend this mod to one of my friends as well today, and I'm gonna make another recommendation. If you play Skyrim and are super into it, I would like to recommend a mod called the Hunting Game.
The hunting game.
It is the simplest mod in the world,
Okay.
but it changes the game pretty radically. Because what it does is it makes hunting spoils, like your pelts and stuff, far more valuable. It makes it a little bit more kind of realistic. So a bear pelt used to be worth 50 gold, and now it's worth 500. It's worth significantly more to kill a bear.
Okay, so it just makes it more viable to not do quests. Then,
It makes it more viable to do hunting. Because at one point I went and did some hunting, and I was able to buy a suite after a little while. So I had a permanent kind of base of operations.
Yeah.
And that was how I played Skyrim for a little bit.
Cool.
And that was fun.
Yeah.
But I always recommend that because it really, really helps in the early game to have access to like all that cash.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But yeah, I haven't been playing Skyrim. I've just been playing Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
That's the second Tomb Raider game, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, I've played through the first one. I've got it on PS3, but I don't own Rise.
Yeah, because that was like it's Windows 10 and Xbox One.
Right,
basically.
Neither of which I own. Well, I've got Windows 10 on my desktop, I suppose.
Yeah. I think it actually does work on legacy operating systems. It just doesn't support DirectX 12.
Okay.
Some more Doom. I've been playing.
Is it still holding out for you?
It's still holding out. I'm
Cool.
still thoroughly impressed. I actually went to hell.
Not literally. Oh, in game.
Yeah,
Right.
in the game. I didn't literally go to hell, Mark.
I'm clever today, aren't I?
You're
Sorry.
very clever.
It's that, yeah, well, you know the story.
I know the story. Why don't you...
Oh, I'm on tech support for work right now, and I was woken up 6 individual times last night by my phone ringing to say a website was down. I need to look at it. So that was fun.
It's good times.
Yep. Means I'm a bit tired today.
Yeah. Doom's still holding up. I went to hell. It was pretty good.
Cool. Did you see any environmentalist posters in hell? Please.
Sorry, I don't think I did.
Such a missed opportunity.
I know. How about you, Mark, though? What have you been playing this week?
So the Steam, I hate they call it the summer sale. The Steam summer sale is on. It's winter here, by the way, in this half of the world.
Here we have really, really short nights still, but we have cursed the northern hemisphere now, so we're making them longer down here, and you guys are getting shorter days, so you gotta watch out.
It bugs me that Steam's called this on a sale because they've actually got it right before. I remember they did one that was like a snow globe.
Yeah, they used to actually
side.
They used to do a winter sale for us and a summer sale for everybody else, and I was like, this is nice.
Great. It made me feel like they hadn't forgotten about this half of the world, but apparently they have forgotten again. But anyway, the games are still on sale for just as much. So I picked up a few. I haven't played all of them yet, but one I picked up is Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. Mm-hmm. Now, I've played Dragon's Dogma on PS3, not the whole way through, but enough. I enjoyed it, but not for ages. And now I know Dark Arisen's got some new content. So I've been playing a bit of that. I think I've got like 4 hours into it in the past couple of nights. And on the one hand, it's reminded me how much fun it is, but it's also reminded me of some of the annoying quirks. And there's a lot of little annoying quirks in this game. But that is a lot of fun.
What are some of the annoying quirks that you're running up against? It's just to confirm you have 4.5 hours in that video game right now.
Makes such a difference.
I was just confirming. I was like, I thought you would have played more. But no.
Not yet. Some of it is just that the UI is unclear enough that it's easy to miss some things, or doesn't give you warnings. My flatmate, for example, when he was making his pawn, which is like your companion who you also make in the character creator, he didn't realize, because the game hadn't made it clear enough, that you can go in and do more detailed edits. And like I said, I think last episode, Dragon's Dogma's got a really nice, robust character creator, so it's a real shame to miss out on that and use like a templated character instead.
Yeah, absolutely.
I also made the same mistake as I made on the PS3, which is once you get to the main city, there's like a quest board, and one of the quests is like escort a merchant, and I picked that up because it's got like a low reward. I thought it'd be easy. I did this on PS3 as well when I played through. And that means that there is a weak merchant following you until either they die, which happens really easily, or you finish the quest. Except the quest is like to go a really long way into a really dangerous place for your level where you can accept that quest. I didn't actually realize until, again, my flatmate, who's also bought the game at the same time, told me, oh no, you can cancel that quest and it's available again. I hadn't realized that, even having played the game before, which I spent like 8 or 10 hours trying to successfully complete this quest on the PS3. Now I realize apparently I can go and just cancel it and come back to it later. I had no idea. Another thing I did was get to the main city and then change what the game calls your vocation, which is like, are you a mage, are you a warrior? And then realize, but I can't actually afford the weapons I need to buy to use this. Luckily, you can switch back for free, I noticed. But yeah, I felt a bit silly having done that. But it is a lot of fun. I like the combat. It's really cool to climb on giant things and stab them. Like Shadow of the Colossus, right?
Yeah.
Very fun. And the other thing I've been playing, which I can thank you for. So what was it, Saturday night, I think? Or Sunday night? You sent me a tweet about a stream for Monster Hunter Generations, the next Monster Hunter game that comes out next month.
Yes, I did.
And someone was streaming and giving out demo codes. And I think I mentioned a few weeks ago my flatmate found a demo code. I said it was a GOG bundle. It was actually a Humble bundle that gave it to him. But it wasn't for this region, so it didn't work. But this stream was giving out some Australian, New Zealand demo codes. So turned out the stream was actually from a few days before, but I found the leftover Australia, New Zealand demo codes. 2 of them had been left on Twitter, and they both still worked. So I got one, and you got one.
I did, in fact, get one. I haven't, unfortunately, played the demo.
Oh, how could you? I have, and it's really good.
Hey,
I'm so stoked.
you mentioned that you really like the art style of this new stuff as well, eh?
Yeah. They've got a lot of new effects. Like in between different games previously, I haven't seen much change in the sort of visual effects. But in Generations, there's some really nice, really well done new effects. Like it's got a lot of different weapons which all play very differently. For anyone who hasn't played Monster Hunter, actually, just very briefly, what it is a game about boss fights where you kill monsters and it takes a long time. Typically, well, in the previous games at least, your character has had they've had no stats tied to them. It's all been about the equipment you use. There's, I think, 12 weapon types, all of which have got completely different movesets, so quite different play styles. And you'll go in and spend 15 to 40 minutes taking down a boss each quest. So that's the gist of the game. One thing that Generations adds is actually now your characters have skills. I don't know how you unlock them yet, but it looks like it's going to be a stat tied to your character. But so one of my main weapons is called the longsword. And I noticed right when I started using this, and I did the big overhead swing, when it hits the ground, a big spit of dust popped up in front of me. And it looked really cool. And like there's a white streak that follows my strokes once I'm powered up and stuff, which again looks really nice. The 2 new monsters which are available in the demo are both really well designed. Monster Hunter, in my opinion, has consistently fantastic monster design. Mm-hmm. Something that I've actually noticed a bit has been lacking in Dragon's Dogma from what I've played so far. But part of that is because they're pulling from mythical monsters like Griffin and Cyclops, which you can't do much with. But yeah, I'm really happy with this demo. It's made me even more excited to play it in, I think, 3 weeks or so.
No, I could definitely contest that there's not really much that you can do with your traditional fantasy.
You're right. There is a lot you can do, but they seem to have chosen not to change it too much.
Yeah.
Which limits what they can do.
I really, like, from what little I've played of Dragon's Dogma so far, it feels kind of traditional.
Yeah.
Like, it feels very much like traditional fantasy, and I'm cool with that. I'm here for it.
Actually, this makes me think one game which has taken that as a base, like typical like European myths of monsters, right? And has then done really cool things with it in terms of design. I think the Witcher games had done a really good job of that.
Yeah, because those are rooted in mostly kind of Polish mythology, aren't they?
I don't know if it's all Polish.
It's Scandinavian.
Yeah, but there's a lot of monsters that like you will have heard of, like a griffin and a cockatrice and stuff. And the way they've designed them, I just think is really quite cool. They've kind of, I hate to use the term realistic because it seems very vague, but they seem to have tried to do the design from what I've seen of though as like, take this description and say, what if it was a thing in the real world? Like the cockatrice that I remember fighting looked quite dirty and mangy and stuff, which you might not normally see in a video game.
Yeah. It did really fit in with everything, to be fair.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I like it.
I'm saying to be fair, but I mean that, like, it's just, like, everything in The Witcher design-wise looks amazing.
One thing that Dragon's Dogma, I think, does really well in terms of its monsters is making them look very muscular. That's a strange thing to say, I think, but if you play the game, I think you'll see what I mean.
They look very strong. This is true.
They do, yeah. Like seeing the Chimera in the prologue, and then there's a Hydra partway through, and the neck of all coming to all of its heads looks really muscular. I think they've done a really good job of that.
Even the dragon looks like super, super muscular.
Yeah, it's pretty buff, eh?
It's really buff.
It's right. I did have a problem with it that I haven't been able to solve. When the opening movie that's not an engine tries to play, it freezes my computer, which is annoying.
Oh,
so I've had to skip it, and then I can play.
You could probably
that was frustrating.
You could probably just delete that.
Possibly. It's especially frustrating, though, because it happens at the end of the 20-minute prologue, so I had to do that 3 times before I could get into the game, because it doesn't save past the start until you finish the prologue.
Fun!
So that was annoying, but, like, I don't know what to do about that. I've got past it. Luckily, having played it before, I've seen the video, and I could always look it up on YouTube.
Yeah, see, I don't have any problems with that either, so that was weird.
Yeah, neither did my flatmate, who also is playing it on PC for the first time, just having bought it. So probably something with my video card or something.
Yeah, I guess this is one of those problems with how
just PC gaming.
Yeah, with just PC gaming, like
when you can't lock down the hardware, then you can only test so much, right?
It works on my machine.
Exactly. It's like with that Fallout 4 problem I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
No one else was seeing the same problem as me.
Yeah,
and I guess I'm a bit unusual in that I game on a laptop, which I don't think is super common. But
I think we've had this discussion on a previous episode where
you seem to think it was more common.
I think it's getting more common. I don't think it's more common already, but I think it is getting more and more common because we have become accustomed to purchasing a single package of hardware, which just works. Which I'm all for, because I like it when things work.
Yeah.
I like owning a console. I like owning my iPhone. And these are all things that are advertised as they're very limited, but they just work.
Mm. I picked up another couple of games in the Steam sale which I haven't played yet. But one is one that you recommended to me, and another is one that I've heard only good recommendations for by people who I think have similar taste to me. So I bought Dust and Elysian Tale, which you said is quite good, I think.
It is amazing.
Yeah, so I've yet to play that. And the other one I've bought but have yet to play is Undertale, which everyone has told me is really good. And
I will add to that and say it is also amazing.
Cool. So I've got both of those to look forward to. I'm also, of course, trying to make sure I've lost some momentum with Final Fantasy X. I know I'm trying to find a day I can dedicate to it on a weekend where I can just go in, blast through it, and finish it.
Yeah.
I really don't want to just leave it by the wayside.
Yeah, because
so I've got that in mind as well.
You've gotten to this point before too, haven't you?
This is the exact point where I got to last time, pretty much. Yeah.
So you've really got to push.
You've
really got to push past it.
Yeah, it's just. I know I won't get too far in just half an evening of gaming, so I want to find a Sunday morning and afternoon I can dedicate to a little something.
Yeah, and then you've got that second half to do as well.
Oh, 10-2.
You still have 10-2 to do.
I haven't really thought yet what I'm going to do with that. If I'm going to try it out right away or not. I know. I've almost got a deadline, right? When Monster Hunter Generations comes out, I'm going to be playing a lot of that. And that is, I think, 3.5 weeks away. I think it's the 16th of July that I get it, which is a Saturday.
So,
2.5 weeks.
Let's see. So that would be around the time we would theoretically be recording. What episode would that be?
We'll be just about to do
8.
episode 8.
Okay, so
I'll talk about it in 8.
If episode 8 is delayed until the 30th of July, you know why.
Are you planning on getting Generations as well?
No, I am not. But I can't host the show on my own, so if you vanish to play Generations for a while, then I'm screwed. I can't talk into a microphone by myself for an hour.
I need to get you to play the demo with me so that I can convince you to buy it.
Yeah, it's not happening at launch, that's for sure. But
okay.
A few months after.
I'm still trying to finish the current Monster Hunter game first, but I don't really like my chances. I've hit another wall where there's this particular quest with 2 particularly hard monsters in the same quest, have to beat at the same time, and
Yeah.
I've tried a few times and failed after having succeeded all the other like key quests I need to advance. So this might be as far as I get in this one.
Which would stink. Like that would suck to get that far. You're already like you're G rank 2, aren't you?
I am. I've got one key quest left before I get the next urgent quest, which I've looked up what they all are.
I was gonna ask, are you just trying to mainline the key quests?
I am. I have been for a while. And I'm confident I could beat the next urgent quest. I haven't fought that variety of the monster before because it's G rank, which means basically its stats are all beefed up and it has a bunch of new moves and some different AI. But I'm confident I'd be able to beat that. But this current quest I'm stuck on, I'm having more trouble with.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's me.
There you go. So, we've gotten what we're playing out of the way and some side tangents as well. So let's talk about a little bit of news this week.
Okay.
I'm going to open up with some news about Overwatch.
Overwatch. Now, have you been playing Overwatch? Have you got it?
I have not been.
No, neither have I. I haven't. It's not the sort of game that I tend to buy, being a competitive shooter, but a bunch of people I know have been playing it and have been really into it.
Yeah, and
I've seen it's got really cool character design as well.
It's the same for me, and I also really like the character design. But I have I'm gonna say for the purposes of the show, personal ethical reasons that I will not be playing Overwatch.
Okay.
And that is as far as that discussion is going.
Okay.
But one of the nice things that I did like about Overwatch's design is that they had a avoid this player option designed to help prevent abuse.
That sounds like a really good idea.
Yeah, and I think it could be. But right now, Blizzard is removing this avoid this player feature.
Why?
Here is why. People are abusing the system to avoid players who are really good at the game.
Oh, right.
Instead of using it as this person is an abusive dickweed, I don't want to play with them.
So are they removing it and replacing it with something else to keep handling any potential harassment?
Not that we know of.
Hmm.
They're deploying it in a silent patch, meaning it's just going to be patched into the game and it's not really going to be done with a lot of fanfare.
Right.
But the reason that the example that someone is using here is that, quote, one of the best Widowmaker players in the world complained to us about long queue times.
Widowmaker's one of the characters in the game, right?
Yeah, one of the sniper classes.
Okay.
So this guy was a wicked good sniper. We looked into it and found that hundreds of other players had blocked him because they didn't want to play against him, not because of any sort of misbehavior. So that's the kind of thing we're seeing from Overwatch's avoid this player system right now. And it's disappointing.
That's really lame. Yeah. So presumably, like, this is an online competitive game. You can kind of, as bad as expect that this is gonna be a problem with there's gonna be abuse and harassment to some extent.
Yeah, because we're talking about the gaming community at large.
Yeah.
A community which has kind of been notoriously, like, let's be honest, it's not good.
No. The word I was actually going to use is awful.
Yeah, I would say that would suffice, actually, yeah.
Now, so I'm assuming, and I have to assume because I haven't played it, that it's going to have some sort of report option, like you can report.
And I would assume so too.
So it's kind of disappointing then that they're not linking this with something like that. Like it's a report for abuse and block kind of thing instead of just avoid this player. Because to be honest, the name of the functionality avoid this player kind of implies, I guess, that you can use it for whatever reason you want to avoid them.
Yeah.
So I wonder if it stems a little bit from that.
I am honestly not sure.
Yeah, I can only guess, right?
Yeah.
But it does sound disappointing that they're removing it. I mean, disappointing as well that it's being abused, right?
Yeah, it's a huge bummer. Like, it's frustrating
Yeah.
that this is the point that it's come to, where it's like...
And I hope it won't set a precedent for more games as well, and then not implementing a feature like this. Because it sounds like something that, instead of being taken away, you just fix that problem, and it's still a useful thing.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm bummed about that. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But that is the Overwatch news of the week, that they're dropping that feature. All right. I think that's going to cover it for us for news this week. Also this week has been the Steam sale.
Yeah, so I've already picked up a few games. I've tried to minimize it since I've pre-ordered Monster Hunter Generations. That's going to be like $80-$90 in a few weeks for me that I'm aware of.
Are you getting any collector's edition or anything like that for that?
No, I don't even know if there is one, to be honest. I don't think so.
I know there's a collector's edition console.
Oh, well, I'm not getting in. Oh, you can get like the special 3DS or something, right?
Yeah.
I'm not doing anything like that. I've just got the old layout 3DS XL, so it doesn't have the second analog. So when my flatmate was playing the demo on my 3DS, he plays with a bow. So when he can't run around and use the second analog to move the camera, he found it really hard. It's less difficult with a melee weapon.
Oh.
But yes, Steam sale.
Steam sale. So, I think at this point we're going to make some recommendations for things to pick up during the Steam sale. Just kind of a game, a reason why you should pick it up, and how much it is in New Zealand dollars. Sorry. Maybe we'll just give the discount percentage?
We can give both. Just discount and how much it is in New Zealand dollars.
Okay. We'll just do that. Just some recommendations so people can find some new stuff.
I can see a couple right here. I'm just looking at the store page now.
Okay.
One which I've sunk a lot of hours into is Terraria, which you've probably heard of and maybe own. But so it's half off, which puts it at $6 New Zealand. Mm-hmm. And it's often been described as a 2D Minecraft, but that's not the whole of it. It's block-based like Minecraft. It's 2D, and it's similar in that, you can get rid of blocks to get dirt and build stuff up. It's a building game and it's a combat game, and it's got quite a lot of content. It's had a couple of sizable content updates over the years it's been out, and it's a very nice cooperative multiplayer game. I've played through it a couple of times with different people. It's got quite an expansive in-game thing now as well if you put time into it. But at $6, I'd say that's worth picking up, honestly, especially if you have a friend or two who'd also want to pick it up.
Now, the same studio has also released a newer type called Starbound. Have you played much of that at all?
Is that the same studio?
I think it is. It's Chucklefish.
Well, Chucklefish, did they do Terraria?
Investigating.
I don't think they did.
No, Relogic. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds better. Yes. Starbound is, oh my god, Starbound is fantastic.
Okay.
I really like Starbound. Is it on sale as well?
It is not actually, but it is, it's $15 normally.
Okay. Basically. Starbound is quite similar to Terraria, but it's a sci-fi game. You go to different worlds in your spaceship. It's also very, very cool. It's very similar, like 2D block-based, play with friends, but quite different content set.
Would you say either of them is particularly good if you're looking for a single-player experience?
I mean, I think they're both fun single-player, but more fun multiplayer, honestly. I think there's a lot to be said about the cooperative for it. You could play either single-player. If I'm going to pick one over the other, I'm going to pick Starbound more because it's still in active development, getting new stuff added to it. And I've played more Terraria. I think I've seen pretty much all the content in that, less so with Starbound. Starbound, I think, has got a lot more cosmetic stuff, like just items you can place when you're building things, and I really like building games, so that's a plus for me.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm going to make a recommendation now.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket League. Please play Rocket League. Like, it's a game that will surprise you, even if you don't think you're going to be super into it. Chances are you'll probably get super into it. I'm going to cite myself as living proof because I absolutely did not think I would get into Rocket League because I typically hate sports games.
Yeah, it's interesting because it looks on the face of it like a competitive sport game, which normally I am completely not into at all. But I've heard only good things about it, and from people who I don't normally think of as playing that sort of game.
Exactly. It's really appealing, and it's got a hell of a lot of customization for all your cars as well.
So that's cosmetic customization?
Yeah, it's all cosmetic.
Okay.
You can make your car very, very personal. Everything's got the same stats and stuff, so nobody has a particular advantage if they build their car a specific way.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, oh, this looks nice, I'll do this.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that it's a game about just kind of making things look cool and playing a really, really simple game of soccer.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of you have to figure out all your stats and because that could be a nightmare.
Yeah, I often find games where you have a lot of stat-based choices to make a bit paralyzing. So it's nice sometimes to have that choice taken away, I guess.
And
they're a
bit more unbalanced in multiplayer, aren't they?
Yeah, it gets quite important in multiplayer, doesn't it? You don't want to gimp yourself by making some bad choices.
Yeah, exactly. So Rocket League, that's my first recommendation. I think that basically everyone will enjoy the hell out of it.
Cool.
All right, let's get another recommendation from you. What have you got?
Well, I've actually spotted one game that's on sale. I've just scrolled past it. I'm trying to find it again. I know what it is. I'm just trying to see how much off it is. Here it is. Kerbal Space Program. This is such a good game, but it's kind of niche, so I'll explain it first. But it's 40% off, which puts it at just under $30 New Zealand. So it's not the cheapest game that's on sale. But I think it's really cool, and I've learned a lot playing it, which isn't something I can say very often. And it's not like what you might typically think of as an educational game. Oh, geez, I remember those from being a kid. They were something.
Oh, God. Can I tell a story here real quick? I'm sorry to interrupt.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
I really want to tell the story. So back when I was in year 10, or grade 10 for those of you who are in America and Canada.
So that puts you at about 15?
That puts me at about 15, I think.
Okay.
We were our class. I think it was like a health class or something. Mm-hmm. We were part of a beta for a educational game.
This sounds like it's going to be interesting.
It actually is, because it ends up being this really cool thing. It's actually it was science. That's what it was. I remember this now. And it was a game about kind of like cells and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was a 3D action platformer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like it was a whole production. And I remember enjoying the hell out of it and learning about like cell structure, learning about the mitochondria.
Oh, that's good. See, I thought this was going to be there's this really bad educational game I ran across story.
No, this is a like we played this when I was 15 and I enjoyed the hell out of this.
Oh, that's good then.
Because we got to test this like really cool, really well-made game. That was like it was teaching us about the cell and teaching we had a test on it afterwards, and it was a really, really cool thing, and it took us.
Was the test a boss fight?
Haha. I mean, I guess you could call it that. But it was like I think it was like a 6 to 8 hour game, so it was short, but it contained enough in it that like the lessons could still stick. Clearly, because I'm talking about it years later.
Yeah. Okay. Back to Kerbal Space Program.
Sorry for going on a tangent.
That's totally fine. Kerbal Space Program is a rocket flight simulator. It's not a game that you play start to finish. Like I put 85 hours into it, and I'm definitely going to go back to it at some point. Once you've got, I'm waiting for one of the updates that's been coming out for a while. But you will build and fly rockets in like actual get into orbit, dock things together, fly to different planets and stuff before I played this, I had pretty much no idea how orbits work, and now I'm actually confident enough to explain it to other people and manipulate them in this game and stuff. It's really very cool. And if you like that sort of game, or if you know like those physics puzzle games, if you're into those, you might really enjoy this because it's kind of a really, really, really complex and open physics puzzle game, I guess, right? Um, but yeah, it's very cool. I would recommend it. I've had a lot of fun with it, and it's currently 40% off for just under $30.
I've heard a ton of really great stuff about Kerbal Space Program. Sorry, I forgot the name for a second.
It's all right. It's one of those games as well where you end up with those fantastic stories of things that went wrong. Like a guy we work with, he plays Kerbal Space Program as well, and he told me a while ago about how he had one of his Kerbals, his little astronauts. I think they got stuck in orbit around the moon. It's an analog solar system. It's not exactly like ours, but like similar-ish. You can say like this is the planet that's like Jupiter, kind of.
Yeah.
And then he sort of forgot about them for a while, and then way later he actually went and rescued them. Like he sent a remote-controlled empty capsule up and like rendezvoused with it and transferred them over because you don't have to worry about life support in this game.
Yeah.
I've actually failed to rescue people before out of Kerbin orbit, where Kerbin is the Earth analog planet, because I sent up a remote-controlled capsule and forgot to take the astronaut out of it first. But it's a really cool game. I would definitely recommend it. At least, go and watch a video and see if it's for you. But yeah, that's my second recommendation.
Yeah. It's a really good recommendation too. Like I said, I've heard a lot of great stuff about Kerbal Space Program, and I've heard a lot of great stories out of it.
Yeah, you'll get great stories out of it if you play it. The only things really are it's not super cheap right now. It's still like $30, and make sure it's a game you'll enjoy first, because I can totally see that it's a game some people won't enjoy. Like if all the games you play are Twitch shooters,
absolutely,
you're probably not going to really get much out of this. But I really like it, and I know there are a lot of other people who also really like it.
Awesome.
Actually, there's also a bunch of really good Let's Plays you can watch on YouTube if you want to know if it's for you.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine.
One guy, Scott Manley, does a lot of cool Let's Play stuff, which he's done a lot of Kerbal Space Program ones, and he talks about how it all works at the same time, like outside game. Like he'll talk about the rocket equation stuff, and that probably sounds boring, but I promise you it's not. But yeah, okay. I'll stop hogging it. What else do you think is worth picking up?
My second recommendation is going to be L.A. Noire.
Oh, yes. So that's on sale as well, is it?
This is on sale as well. It is 80% off for the complete edition, which is the edition that I would recommend picking up. It is $8.
Oh, yeah?
If you do not own this, I would highly recommend jumping on it. It is one of the best crime procedurals I've ever experienced, whether that's in TV or in a game or in a movie. It's fantastic.
I remember being quite surprised with this game. Was it a Rockstar game? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was one of Rockstar's. It was produced by them.
Because what I expected, it being a Rockstar game, and I just played like Red Dead Redemption and stuff, was that it was going to be very combat heavy, but it's not, is it?
No, it is primarily investigation focused, as you'd expect from a crime procedural. Man, that game goes some places.
I've not actually finished it.
It does end up tackling a lot of really hard topics as well, which is fascinating. Okay. Like it ends up kind of indirectly, I should say, tackling the racism of the 40s.
Because it's set just post World War II, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, it's set almost immediately after World War II. And you are a detective who has just returned from the war. You were a... actually, no, I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah, your character's past gets revealed and
your character's past gets
revealed. The story.
Yeah, it's a really, really fascinating game. It was also particularly impressive because it forced you to read people's faces in addition to reading kind of how they're speaking to you, and it asks you to evaluate whether they're telling the truth or lying to you, or somewhere in between.
It's one of those games where I feel like it could be really tempting to save scum and like you picked wrong, so going back, but like don't.
No, don't. Absolutely not.
Because it's one of those games where you can really roll with the failures and it adds to it, right?
Absolutely. Not so much in the investigations. I've failed a couple of those before. Or sorry, the interviews where you have people who you have to question. If you get enough of those wrong, then then it can go awry.
Okay.
But otherwise, during your investigation, it can be fine to just roll with the punches. If you get
Which is what I think should be the case in the game with choices like that, right?
Absolutely. So L.A. Noire gets my highest recommendations. It's absolutely one of my favorite games, and I've played through it like 4 or 5 times now at this point.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had a pirated copy for a while.
Okay.
And I played it like that originally.
Yeah.
And then I bought it on Steam and played it through a few more times.
So are there different endings or something?
No, it's all one ending.
Okay, you just like it that much?
I like it that much.
Cool.
So, L.A. Noire. It's my second recommendation. $8.
It's pretty good. $8. Yeah. I've got one here as well, which is $15. That's 75% off, which I know you had some trouble with the sound design, but I really like this game. This is Shadow of Mordor.
Yep, Middle-earth, Shadow of Mordor. I definitely had problems with the sound design.
But I really liked it, and if you haven't played it, it's definitely worth playing. This game had a really interesting system. They call it the Nemesis system, where basically, for one example of how this can happen, if some random NPC orc kills you, they become a character. They become named. They get like a promotion. They'll get like strengths and weaknesses and stuff, and they can return and fight you again. And sometimes you think you've killed them, and they'll come back, and they become. It's procedural. So a lot of the story is sort of like around that in your head, but they will develop alongside your character. It's very cool. It's a system I want to see more games try to use. I want to see more games try to do that sort of thing where you can have just a random NPC become a big actual character of their own. I think it's a really cool thing. And yeah, if you haven't played that, I would definitely say it's worth playing. It's not a perfect game. Like, I agree with you what you've said about the sound design, Jess. I think it impacts you more than it impacts me. Like, I don't notice it as much.
Yeah, I'm super sensitive to that because it used to be what I did.
Right. So what you've said, correct me if I'm wrong, is that the combat wasn't impactful enough is the main thing?
Yeah, the biggest problem that I had with Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor is that I felt the combat fell really flat on the basis that it sounded really flat. It never really felt like I was doing a hell of a lot to all these hordes of orcs that were around me. So I was like, oh, okay, so this is fundamentally boring me.
Yeah.
And that was a lot of my beef with that.
Okay, fair enough.
Now that said, I actually have been considering going back to it.
Okay.
Because of how much I enjoyed the Arkham games.
Yeah, because that's the thing. If you have played the Arkham games, this uses that same combat system.
Yeah, and
pretty much identically.
Uses a little bit of the stealth system as well.
Yeah, you don't get much of that, but yes, no, you're right.
I got a ton of it when I was playing, but that's because I played that game very stealth.
Okay, I don't, so maybe it's just that I haven't noticed because I haven't done it.
Okay.
But yeah, so this game, I don't think it really goes out on a limb on its combat, but it has very solid combat because it uses the same system that is a good combat system, essentially. It's also got some stuff which I think the developers thought was cooler than I think, about like controlling orcs with your Spectre powers. I was never super into that.
No, I never did that.
I tried to avoid it wherever I could. But yeah, play it for the Nemesis system because that's really cool. I really want to see other games do it.
Absolutely.
Imagine if The Witcher did that with random monsters. I mean, not that they kill you and you keep coming back, but like, imagine that. Yeah. No?
I couldn't see it working quite as well in a game like The Witcher.
I'm just thinking of like their monster design and stuff.
What about like XCOM?
I think one of XCOM's DLCs does something a little bit like that. Oh, it's not quite, I suppose. No, you're right. XCOM could be really cool for that. XCOM, one of the DLCs has got like boss monsters that will come back in different missions, but it's always the same one. It's not like this character killed your character, so now they're better. That would be really cool.
Yeah. An adaptation of that for a turn-based strategy game would be like fascinating to see.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like, oh, this character killed one of your units and now they're beefier. Or they killed they now you've like wounded them, but they got away, so now they have this weakness. I think
they have to have some way of getting away, right? Because it's the coming back that makes them memorable. I think is a big part of it.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'd recommend playing Shadow of Mordor for the Nemesis system, and it's 75% off on the sale, $15.
All right. And I'm going to make my third recommendation. Now, if you know me, you will have seen this coming.
Okay.
Because it is the most obvious recommendation for me to make ever. My favorite game of all time. One that I've played through literally at least 8 times.
8 times?
8 whole times. I'll let the dog finish barking.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. Alan Wake.
Alan Wake. I haven't played that.
For those of you unfamiliar, like Mark.
Actually, wait, do I own that? Sorry, keep talking. I think I might own this.
Okay. Alan Wake is a third-person shooter, and it is a psychological horror and action game. It is very, very goddamn good. It's really well written. It's really well executed. The environments are really beautiful.
I do. I own it. I've got it in the Humble Store.
If you are at all into kind of Stephen King novels, if you are into a sort of Lovecraftian horror, then you are going to find yourself right at home in Alan Wake. Fundamentally, it's a game about light and darkness, where the combat system actually requires that you burn darkness off of your enemies. They're like possessed by the darkness, so you have to use your flashlight, burn it off of them, and then you can shoot them. So it becomes it ends up with a lot of really, really tense setups, especially because a little bit later in the game you start running into possessed objects, and they'll fling themselves at you. And there's so much fantastic design in that. Very strongly recommended. Some fantastic writing, fantastic characters. Really great score by Petryalenko. Yeah, there's a lot to love about that game. It is 80% off in the sale. $7.19 for the base version, or $8.39 for the game and the collector's edition extras. And that includes stuff like a soundtrack. Let me just quickly check what else is in there.
Mm-hmm.
An illustrated book.
So it'll be like a PDF, presumably, if you're buying it digitally.
It is a PDF. Some additional developer commentary videos. About an hour's worth, it says. And a small selection off of the original soundtrack. So I would recommend picking that up if you can. That is $8.39 for both the original game and that collector's edition extra stuff. Alan Wake's American Nightmare isn't as good.
Is that the sequel?
No, it is a offshoot.
Okay.
Like an alternate universe, I will say. It's not quite as good. It felt kind of like Assassin's Creed 1 in that it was really, really repetitive.
Right. Yeah.
In this case, it's like you're going through time loops and going to the same locations a few times. So that can get a little bit predictable. It does do some fun stuff with that, I will say. So that is Alan Wake, and that wraps up our recommendations.
I actually have one more.
Oh, do you?
I just spotted. I
Okay.
do. I'm not trying to outdo you.
Let's do one more each, because I have another one that I want to
Cool.
quickly plug.
And then we really should stop, because when everything pretty much is on sale, it's easy to keep going, isn't it?
Yeah, but I've got one more that I actually want to plug, and then I've got one more that I would recommend picking up just because it has some additional bonuses later down the line.
So my last recommendation for this is FTL, Faster Than Light, which is 70% off for 360 New Zealand.
Yep.
Like pennies. And I think it's really cool. It is a, I guess, tactical, it's like a spaceship management game, but combat. So you control this spaceship, which, to start with, you have this particular spaceship with this particular layout, but later on you can unlock different layouts. And you'll say, like, this crew member goes to man the weapons. Well, I shouldn't say man, actually. What's a better word than man for that as a verb? Crew isn't quite right.
No.
Operate. They go to operate the weapon system.
Cool.
This one is the pilot. This one is going to maintain the engines and stuff. And you'll change where the power's distributed. Say this weapon is going to shoot this section of the alien's ship. It's really cool. It's really a lot of fun, I find. Again, it's one of those games where you get a lot of stories, like how you are in an ion storm, so you don't have all of your energy available as usual. So you have to turn off the oxygen to power your weapons and hope your crew doesn't suffocate before you can kill the ship that's shooting at you. There's a lot of cool stuff. It's a roguelike, so don't get too attached. Everything will ramp up and ramp up and ramp up, and you're forced to continue until there's this final, ridiculously difficult, I've never beaten it, boss fight at the end. There's an easy mode, which is nice because this game can be pretty punishing, honestly.
I was going to say, actually, when I've been playing FTL, I've found that it's very, very hard.
Yes.
So maybe take it a little bit easier than normal on yourself if you are not particularly into really hard games.
Yeah, there is an easy mode, luckily. I think this is a game that needs an easy mode. But yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. How much time have I spent in that game, actually? I've spent 30 hours in that game. Not as much as I thought, but yeah, a lot of fun. I don't know if this applies to Steam, but I think they've got a version out on iPad. It's a game that I haven't played on a touchscreen, but I think would work really well on a touchscreen, so that might be worth having a look at. But it's on sale on Steam. I don't know if that applies to any touch devices.
I doubt that it does, sadly.
Yeah, quite possibly not. But yeah, FTL is good.
All right. And my final recommendation for this Steam sale is Life is Strange.
Oh, that's one of those episodic story-based ones, right?
Correct. From the creators of a game called Remember Me.
Oh, I liked Remember Me.
Yeah, it's the same studio that did that.
Okay.
Because Remember Me was their kind of debut work, and that was like a fighting game, well, an arena fighting game, mixed with some cyberpunk and sci-fi, and it was a really, really cool game.
It was a really interesting setting. Some
of the best art, actually, in games, and I actually own the art book for it.
Nice.
So Life is Strange is an episodic story game in the veins of a Telltale game. If you've played Telltale's The Walking Dead, Tales from the Borderlands, etc., etc. So the story takes place over roughly 2-hour episodes in the case of Life is Strange. Mm-hmm. They're a little bit longer than... Actually, some of them must have been 3 hours. They're a little bit longer than the Telltale episodes. Damn, it was a good game. It deals with some pretty mature themes, so just be aware of that. It does get particularly dark as well. So if you are not into playing games that have really, really dark stories and deal with I'm going to not beat around the bush about this. There is a character who can commit suicide depending on your choices. there's a lot of kind of nasty stuff that can happen to the characters in Life is Strange. So if you are averse to that, please do not pick up Life is Strange. But if you are able to handle that safely, by all means, I would strongly recommend that you play it.
You know what I'm doing right now?
What are you doing?
I'm typing my payment details into Steam because I didn't realize it was on sale, but I've heard so many good things about it, so I'm going to get it.
You're just going to... Okay. We are now live recording Mark purchasing Life is Strange.
Yeah. I'm glad it doesn't have like different tones depending on the credit card number I type in.
Yeah, we can't figure that out. So that is currently 60% off for the first episode, which puts it down to $2.39. If you just want to try it out, that's how much it's going to cost you. The rest of the
nice
episode...
that they've got the first episode is on sale on its own, and then the rest is you can either get the first one and then get 2 to 5, or you can get them all at once.
Yep. So episode 1 on its own, $2.39. The season pass after that. So if you decide to play it and you like it, that's going to be $10. It's 50% off. Or you can get the whole thing as one complete package. It's $23.99, which is 50% off.
Wait, isn't it $12? Because that's what it says right here in my cart.
Yeah, $12. I said $11.99.
I think you said $23.99, which is the...
that is the base price. I'm sorry if I said that. It is $11.99.
$12, but yes.
It's $12. And that will get you... That's about 12 hours of game, I think.
Damn you, Steam sale. It's another $12 gone. But it should be
fun. The eternal curse.
That's the thing about Steam sales, right?
Yeah.
Everything's so cheap that when you buy like 4 games or more, it's not anymore.
Nope. Suddenly it becomes not.
Yeah.
But that's a thing that we all have to deal with. The last thing I'm going to recommend as just like pick this up because it's got some benefit down the road.
Mm-hmm.
Skyrim. If you have interest in Skyrim and you don't already own all the DLC, or what is called the Legendary Edition, which is just the base game and all the DLC.
It's what you call a Game of the Year edition that didn't get Game of the Year, I guess?
Skyrim definitely got Game of the Year.
Did it? Then why is it called Legendary instead of Game of the Year?
Because it's about building your legend, I guess? Okay. I don't know.
You're right, though. It would have won several Game of the Year awards, for sure.
So Skyrim, if you have any interest in playing it, definitely pick it up right now. Get that Legendary Edition. Make sure that you have all the DLC.
Because...
well, let me get to it.
Okay.
There's a discount if you already own one of the DLCs separate. So if you already do own... Nice. Yeah, if you own Hearthfire or Dragonborn or Dawnguard separately, then you can just get the other ones. No problem. The reason that you want to pick this up is on October 23rd, for anyone on PC who owns a copy of Skyrim and all of its DLC, you'll be receiving a free upgrade to what's called the Special Edition of Skyrim. And this comes with an upgraded engine, upgraded visuals, the whole 9 yards for Skyrim.
It should look better and run smoother.
Look better, run smoother. I think it is being put on Fallout 4's new engine. Okay. Or modified version of the engine, I guess. So everything's getting a pretty significant overhaul. So if you've got interest in Skyrim, maybe grab it now, but wait until October 23rd to start playing it.
Yeah, I've got the DLC already, but haven't played it all. So that October date is now my replay Skyrim date.
Yep. Now, as far as I know as well, if you already own it but have a low power rig, you don't have anything to worry about, because from what I know, and don't take this as fact yet, but Skyrim Special Edition will be added as a separate thing in your library. So if you have a low power rig and you can't handle Skyrim if you wouldn't be able to handle Fallout 4.
Or if you couldn't handle the high-res texture pack that came out as a DLC for Skyrim.
Yeah, exactly. If you couldn't handle either of those games, then you can continue playing the base game, no problem. You won't be affected by it. That's cool.
That's cool.
Everyone else who can run that on their rig will have the option to do so.
So if you want to do that, now's a good time because it's cheaper.
It's a super excellent time to do that because I don't think there's going to be another sale before that October 23rd launch date. So maybe give that a look. It looks like they've also got official support for the Skyrim script extender through Steam as well now.
How do you mean official support?
If you go to the Skyrim page, it's actually got a community-made mods section for this game, and Skyrim script extender has its own listing there.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, what do you mean by listing? Sorry, I'm just trying to go check it out.
It's got like its own thing there.
Like a section or like installer? I see it. It's the
like
one
an installer,
thing.
yeah.
Cool. That's nice to see. Because the script extender has always become like a really big part of the modding scene for Bethesda's games.
Yeah, because it does add so much.
Yeah, I mean, when you're the developer, you can say, hey, can we add this thing to the engine? And pretty much every piece of DLC that does something new has new script functions that expose a new part of the engine. So the script extender lets modders have access to some new stuff that couldn't be done with the base game alone. So it's really
exactly. Cool. All right. Is that going to do it for us?
I think so. Is there anything that you want to...
For Steam recommendations, at least, it's going to do it for us.
Is there anything you're looking forward to playing in the next week? More Rocket League? More Doom?
More Rocket League, more Doom, absolutely.
We'll have to play the Generations demo together, try the multiplayer.
Yeah, maybe on Friday we can just bring our 3DSs into work.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe we'll have a game after work.
After work on Friday's the thing.
Oh, right, yeah. Okay, we'll maybe do
We'll figure something out.
Maybe at lunch.
Yeah.
Or maybe we can do it anyway. Just go off to the corner. We can't. We're hunting monsters. Monster Hunter Generations probably gonna get there. Probably some more Fallout 4. Assassin's Creed Unity. Keep going on that. Keep on trucking.
So you're making progress in the story of that again?
I am.
Cool.
It still feels very loose, but I think that's fine.
Okay.
How about you, Mark? What are you looking forward to playing this week?
So I've got a bunch of things now that are in my immediate to playlist, but one thing I'm making sure looms large in my mind, which is find a day to dedicate to finishing off Final Fantasy X. I have to do that because I've got a few narrative-based games now. I've got Life is Strange.
Oops.
Yeah. I've got Dreamfall Chapters, which I've started on, but not going very far in. I've got Dust and Undertale to start yet. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to try to leave these until after I've got the Final Fantasy X story out of mind, finished.
Cool.
And I know I'm going to be playing more Dragon's Dogma and more Monster Hunter in the coming week as well.
Awesome. All right. We got some housekeeping to take care of. Super quick. First of all, we're on Twitter. If you want to follow us there, we are at PauseCast Show. We're also on SoundCloud. If you want to follow us there, that's a pretty good place to subscribe to us. And that is soundcloud.com/PauseCast Show. Mark, do you know where people can find us on iTunes?
I was actually just about to say, you've got that handy shortened URL for iTunes, don't you?
Yes, I do.
I don't remember what it is.
Oh,
it's handy and memorable.
No,
I don't remember what URL shortener you've used.
It's bit.ly/pausecast-iTunes, and that will take you straight to our iTunes page. And that'll also work if you are on your iPhone or on your iPad. It'll just take you straight to the podcast app, even. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. You can email us as well. We're pausecastshow@gmail.com.
Yep. If you are on iTunes as well, please consider giving us a review. It helps us a lot if you review us, because it means that we go up in the ratings a little bit, and every little bit counts. Especially when we were a new show. We're trying to get some exposure. And yeah, it was going to help us out. We're also listed on Pocket Casts if you use that or prefer to use that.
Which I know you do.
Yes, I do. It's definitely my preferred client. And you can find us there pretty easily. Just search for PauseCast. Facebook group. Mark, where's that? You have to look it up.
I'm looking it up.
Okay.
No, it's...
I can tell you and you can say it.
No, I've got it.
Okay.
So that's facebook.com/groups/PauseCast show. You might have noticed a theme here in what they're all called.
Yeah, there seems to be a little bit consistent, huh?
It's quite convenient, I think.
Weird how consistent that is.
Yeah. So we're individually on Twitter as well.
Yeah.
I'm at Honest Universe.
And I am at Cockatiel Cutie.
That's QD the word, not QT the letters, right?
That's Cutie the word, not QT the letters.
Cool.
All right, I think that's going to do it for us this week. You think that's it?
I think that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you so much. And again, iTunes, rate and review, maybe? Maybe? We'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you then. Yes. Wait, are we talking to them? No, we're not
talking to them. They're not talking back.
That's true.
It's like we can talk to dead people.
So
They don't talk back. I can talk to trees. They don't talk back. I don't know, like, do I smell? I don't get it.
I'm just gonna
I'm
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye, bro.